In 1590, English explorers arrived at a settlement in Virginia. What they found would become one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. The wooden palisade walls stood silent and empty. No smoke rose from the fires. No voices called out. Just nothing. 117 people had vanished. Not a single body remained. Not a single grave. No signs of struggle. No violence. No blood. They simply disappeared. And the only clue they left behind was carved into a single oak tree. Croatoan. One word. 117 missing people. And a mystery that would haunt America for over 400 years. In 1587, John White led an expedition of 117 English colonists to Virginia. They called it Roanoke Colony. It was an ambitious dream to establish England's first permanent settlement in the New World. There were families, women, children, craftsmen, soldiers, farmers. They built structures, they cultivated gardens, they prepared for survival, but supplies were scarce. So in August of 1588, Governor John White made a difficult decision. He would return to England to get more supplies. He promised he would be back in just a few weeks, but fate had other plans. War broke out in England. Ships were commandeered. Years passed. It wasn't until 1590, 3 years later, that White finally returned to Roanoke. He was unprepared for what he would discover. When John White arrived at the settlement, he found it completely abandoned. The palisade walls still stood. The buildings were still intact. The gardens were still there. But there wasn't a single colonist anywhere. No bodies, no skeletons, no burial grounds. 117 people, men, women, and children, had simply ceased to exist. Yet the settlement showed no signs of disaster, no evidence of fire, no evidence of massacre, no evidence of plague or starvation. The colonists had left their possessions behind. Tools, weapons, cooking implements. They had even left their supplies. If they had fled in panic, they would have taken weapons. They would have taken food. But they didn't. Instead, they left everything and carved a single word into an oak tree. Croatoan. No cross beside it, the agreed-upon signal for distress. Just one word, a clue, or a message, or perhaps a location. The question haunted John White for the rest of his life. Where did they go? Some historians believe the colonists were killed by local Native American tribes, but there was no evidence of violence, no arrows, no weapons, no massacred remains. Others believe they starved to death, but they left supplies behind, and no bodies were ever found. Some theorists suggest they perished in a storm or natural disaster. But the settlement stood untouched. Everything was in order. There is, however, another theory, one that seems impossible, yet somehow makes sense. What if the 117 colonists didn't die at all? What if they survived? What if Croatoan, the word carved into that tree, wasn't a distress signal, but directions? Croatoan was the name of a nearby Native American tribe. What if the English colonists, desperate and alone, made an alliance with them? What if they abandoned their settlement and assimilated into the local indigenous population? It would explain why there were no bodies. It would explain why they left supplies and possessions. It would explain why they left a message, not a cry for help, but a location. Perhaps the 117 colonists didn't vanish. Perhaps they simply became Croatoan, and their descendants may still be living in America today, carrying English bloodlines hidden in Native American heritage. But there's a problem with this theory. In 1701, over a century later, an English explorer reported that a Native American elder claimed his ancestors included English settlers who had married into their tribe. But by then, all documentation was lost. Records disappeared, files were sealed, English authorities seemed oddly eager to forget Roanoke colony. Was it shame at the colonial failure? Or was there something else they wanted to hide? The truth is, we may never know. Archaeological digs have found limited evidence, some pottery mixing native and European styles, some oral histories among native tribes speaking of pale-skinned ancestors. But nothing definitive. No smoking gun, just fragments, hints, whispers of a truth buried under centuries of silence. The colony that was supposed to establish English dominance in America instead became a ghost story. A warning, perhaps. A reminder that the New World didn't belong to the English. That perhaps the strongest colonists were those willing to abandon their identity and embrace the land that would become their home. In modern times, historians have tried to unlock the Roanoke mystery, but the trail has gone cold. Governor John White's documents were scattered and lost. Colonial records were filed away and forgotten. Some historians claim official records were deliberately suppressed, that England wanted to erase the memory of their failed colony. Others believe the truth was simply lost to time. No one alive today knows for certain what happened to those 117 people. They left behind one word and 4 centuries of unanswered questions. The lost colony of Roanoke stands as one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. 117 people vanished. One word remained. Croatoan. Did they die? Did they escape? Did they assimilate? We may never know. But somewhere in America, descendants of those 117 English colonists may be walking among us, their heritage hidden, their story forgotten, their truth buried under the weight of history. The mystery remains unsolved. And perhaps that's exactly what they wanted.